Welcome back to CBS Mornings. America's latest mass shooting, as you know, took place inside a school full of young children. 3 9-year-old students, just sit with that for just a second. 9-year-old students and 3 adults were killed at the Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee. Surveillance video shows the moment that this shooter entered the school. We have to warn you, you've seen it. It's extremely disturbing. You can see the shooter, who police say was a former student, breaking a glass door with gunfire. Police say this attacker was heavily armed and this attack was carefully planned. We're joined now by Nashville's police chief. His name is John Drake. Good to see you, Chief Drake. I'm so sorry it's under these circumstances. My heart is so heavy. I'm so sad, so angry and mad. I cannot imagine how you were feeling this morning. I've seen interviews with you where you say that you think the motive here was resentment. What do you mean by resentment? What does that mean? Resentment about what?
So the investigation is still ongoing into this whole incident. But what detectives have said so far is there's possibly some resentment for having to go to that school. There's a connection with that family. Right now, I can't go deeply into that, but because it's unconfirmed. But that's really where that came from.
What makes you say the attack was carefully planned?
So we have a manifesto. We have a booklet that shows exactly what she had planned to do. We have maps that showed the entry point into the school, the weapons that was going to be used, the clothing that she was going to wear. She had drawn it up almost like a cartoon character. It was exactly what she had on during this incident. And she was a previous student. She had some connections there. The head of the school was assassinated in the hallway. So we feel it was targeted and planned.
Mm-hmm. You think she was targeting 9-year-old children?
It's so unfortunate as this investigation continues to go. The kids was obviously targeted. Praise goes out to the men and women the 2 officers actually, who went into the school, because we could have had far more casualties than what we had. They immediately responded, went inside, addressed and mitigated the suspect. And I give the school credit as well, because for some reason the alarm was going off, the fire alarm, and there wasn't any kids in the hallway. And I think they've gone through some type of training. I'll find out more about that today. But they played a great role as well in preventing more lives from being lost.
You know, Chief Drake, you've spent a life in law enforcement. That involves seeing some things. I'm sure you've been in some tough situations. Could you take us back to the scene yesterday when you arrived? I heard you at the press conference, which I was covering live yesterday, talk about tears coming to your eyes. What did you see, and how did it move you?
I was so hurt. I've been in this profession for 35 years, and I've trained for these type of situations just as the officers have. And when the call went out, I immediately canceled everything I had going for the day, went out to the scene, and it really was just a few minutes from having to go into the school myself. I saw kids coming out holding hand in hand. I saw officers coming out bleeding. I saw just raw emotion. I had officers tell me they wasn't sure if they could do this anymore after carrying kids out of the building. It was just a tough scene.
What can you tell us about the shooter? Have you talked to the shooter's family? What can you tell us about this person?
So we know the shooter to be Audrey Hale. She's 28 years old. She actually attended that school. And has some history there. We've talked to the father and the mother. They lived on Brightwood Avenue. We went to that residence, interviewed them, searched the home. We found 2 more weapons there, and I believe some more maps pertaining to maybe some thinking about some other incidents. We strongly believe there was going to be some other targets, including maybe family members, and one of the malls here in Nashville, and it just did not happen.
Chief, your hometown is Nashville. I would like to give you an opportunity to send a message to Nashville and the rest of the country, if you will, because this is something we are collectively dealing with here in the U.S.
I want to say to Nashville and to the rest of the country, we have to do something with gun violence and mental illness. Our kids are counting on this. I was in conversations with my daughter this morning. I have a 4-year-old grandson, and she's considering homeschooling, a place where it's supposed to be safe. We send our little loved ones off. They're excited to go to school. They're excited to be around friends, and then have to deal with this tragedy. We have to come together. We have to address gun violence, and we have to address mental illness and make it safe for the ones that we love the most and our most vulnerable, which are our kids.
Yeah, we keep saying that message, and this keeps happening. You said you talked to Audrey Hale's parents. What did they say?
So it's really hard for them emotionally right now. Our detectives have talked to them, and we're just combing through trying to find out what was going on. It was just really emotional because they lost a child during all of this as well. And so it's very traumatic for them, too.
Wow. Chief John Drake, thank you for joining us.